What's up, everybody? This is Norbkamp coming at you with another episode of the Dive In With Dovinh. Yes, this is our weekly show where I talk to my partner and sponsor, Daniel Dovinh of the Dovinh Group at Marketplace Sotheby's. And we break down what happened last week and we look ahead at what's going to happen this coming week. And let me bring him on right now. Daniel, welcome back to the Dive In, man. This is going to be a painful dive in because what happened last week was nothing that we had predicted. And if anything, it was injury to insult because not only did we lose to our rival Rams 26-17, we also lost our all-pro franchise quarterback for at least 4 weeks to that finger injury, putting us into a whole new realm of never before uncharted territory. So let me just jump out by asking you, Daniel. I put in the title, I said, is the Seahawks season over? Is it over?
You know, I have to be honest, man. I'm normally a very positive guy. I'm a homer on the Seahawks. However, the odds of us winning the division are extremely low right now. I will say, being 2-3 at this point in the season, yes, we've only played 2 division games, but having dropped 2 at home and with the Cardinals playing how they are, it's really hard for me to imagine that we can make up this sort of deficit over the long haul, especially when it's not just the Cardinals we're dealing with. We're also dealing with the Rams. I think we can handle the Niners again, but I'm not convinced we can do more than split with the other 2 teams. And mathematically, we can't actually do more than split with the Rams because obviously we just lost at home to them. So I will say the season is not over. We do have an opportunity in the wild card, but the odds are not looking good right now.
Man, I can't believe we're talking about this 5 games into this season. That's being at 2-3 and already playoff hopes starting to look like they're dwindling. However, mathematically, anything can still happen. Let's jump into why we should have some hope. All right. You said it's kind of already starting to look like the weather outside. It's a little bit nasty. It's starting to rain. It's looking kind of cold and bleak, but there's always hope. What's it going to take for us to turn this around, at least until the point where Russell Wilson can come back to this team in 4 weeks and be going, you know what? We're still got a chance. What is it going to take to get to that point where we still have a chance come what Russell Wilson's recovery from injury?
Yeah, I think if we're still having the goal of winning the division, we're still trying to win a Super Bowl this year, which I know is Russell Wilson's mentality, and I know is Pete Carroll's mentality. You have to go 3-0. You have to go 3-0 and then get to the bye week with some rest. And the truth is, we do have 3 winnable games. It starts with the Steelers upcoming. They are without Juju Smith-Schuster. But the big thing is we're facing another awesome running back. He's going to be probably top 3 that we're going to face. It's going to be him and King Henry, number 1 and 2 as far as running backs we're going to face in a little beast mode, signed with beast mode marketing, Najee Harris. That dude is a monster. And especially with Juju going down, we have no option but to stop the run. Number 1, we got to stop the run. Number 2, we need to play Ryan Neal. And what I think needs to happen is we need to have Jamal Adams come up and play on the line of scrimmage and in the box because that fits his skill sets. One of the tenets of Pete Carroll's coaching philosophy is to double down on players' strengths, not to focus on their weaknesses. And you know what? The truth is, we've been having Jamal Adams and Jordan Brooks be playing a lot of pass coverage right now, and they need to be focusing on rushing the passer and stopping the run more than anything else. And we got to get Ryan Neal out there to play with Quandre Diggs in the back. Those are my top 2 keys. And number 3, we need our reinforcements on offense that come and actually do something. We need Ethan Posick to actually start at center. Our tight end, Gerald Everett, needs to come back from the COVID list and contribute. And number 3, biggest guy to come back, Chris Carson. Giant deal, tough neck injury. People are giving him a hard time for not being able to stay healthy, but the truth is we are so much better when he's on the field. healthy. So those are my top 3 ways we can be competitive in this week's game.
All right, so those are your 3 keys to the Seahawks versus the Steelers this week. I'm going to get to your score prediction in a second, but for me, I've found this week a lot of soul searching, a lot of trying to find where's the silver lining in all of this. And, with Russell Wilson going down, obviously the next man up is the mantra. And who was that next man up? Well, it's Geno Smith. Geno Smith, in the small little sample size we saw against the Rams, he actually did pretty good. He led the Seahawks down the field, 98 yards and a touchdown, had another drive which led to a field goal. Unfortunately, his third attempt turned out to be that interception, which really wasn't his fault. Tyler Lockett fell down after some contact, no call. So, we saw some good, we saw a little bit of bad, but it's going to be different to see him in a full game. So that kind of transitions me to what are our 3 keys. Well, I'm going to start off with Geno Smith. And what does he have to do? Well, not be Russell Wilson. He's just got to be a turnover-free Geno Smith. To me, number 1, he's got to be turnover-free. He doesn't have to try to do too much. He doesn't have to try to throw the ball down the field, 50 yards, but he just needs to run the Shane Waldron offense. And I think that this could be a good thing in the sense that Shane Waldron can maybe have Geno Smith run the offense that he's been wanting him to do, which is kind of the short stuff, not try to do too much, but just be within the system. And maybe this is the change that jumpstarts the emergence of that offense. So I'm thinking that if that's the case, then all Geno's got to do is run that offense and take what the defense gives you, but do not turn the ball over. So that's number 1. Geno's got to not turn the ball over. Number 2, someone else has got to be perfect this week. I think it's got to be the guy who was perfect last year and ain't so perfect this year. That's our kicker, Jason Myers. He was unbelievable last year. Didn't miss a field goal the entire season. He's already missed more than his share of that and extra points. He's got to be perfect. I think in the margin of error that we have none of in a game where points are at a premium, he's going to have to make every single kick. And if every touchdown we get, he's got to get that extra point because this could be determined by 1 point, 2 points, that type of game. I think it's going to be that close the rest of the way. So he's got to be perfect. And then number 3, you kind of talked about it already, but the defense is not doing whatever they've been throwing out there, it hasn't been working. So they got to change it up. And they got to change it up to what has actually been successful. And I think that's what you just said. Ryan Neal, more play in the backfield, in the defensive backfield, and let Jamal Adams do what he did best last year. Rush him more because he clearly is not good at coverage. So why keep trying to do something that's not real? Why put a square peg in a round hole or the opposite? Let's put them where they're successful and put Ryan Neal back there and let Jamal Adams just go to town on the quarterback. So just changing it up and let those guys do what they do. So those are my 3 keys. Geno being perfect on turnovers, being 0, Jason Myers being perfect, as in make all his kicks, and number 3, put the players where they'll succeed, particularly on defense. It's got to be Jamal rushing and Ryan Neal back there helping the secondary because, boy, do they need some help. So what is your score prediction for the game? I'm very curious about this.
Well, Norm, before I do that, I got to call you out because I feel like you're being way too positive with this team right now. I think that this reminds me of when I was coaching JV boys basketball at the small private school. I love those guys to death, but boy, were we bad at basketball. We had this meeting one time. Quick story, Norb. We had this meeting one time with all the coaches, and we ended up going through, okay, what are all the things we need to improve on? You know what it was, Norb? It was literally every single aspect of basketball. It was offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, playing defense in general, like knowing the rules of the game, not traveling, nice, good shooting form, passing the ball well, dribbling, everything you can think of. And that's where the Seahawks are now. We're having issues on special teams. We're getting kicks blocked. We're not hitting our extra points and field goals. Our offense, DK and Tyler are dropping passes. Gerald Everett, who we paid $7 million a year to this year, hasn't been playing. Ethan Posick hasn't been playing. Our offensive line can block better with Geno because he'll just get the ball out quick because he's tall. I'm calling you out, Russell. You're short. And our defense is on pace to be the worst defense in NFL history. Yes, can we turn around? Absolutely. But right now, nothing's going well. The coaching's not working. We're going for it on 4th down. It's not working. Defense isn't working. Offense isn't working. Special teams isn't working. The good news is it can't get much worse. It can't get much worse. That's the good news. And so I'm calling you out, Nor, because your keys of the game is literally every aspect of football.
Well, I left a few things out there. I mean, when your keys to the game are one player on both sides, I'm grasping for straws here because we've talked about so much about, well, we need to be better on third down. We got to stop them. And, it's to a point now where I'm just trying to find the smallest little things and hoping that much will fix because we haven't seen it. This defense is unrecognizable. The offense can't play 4 quarters. I mean, even it'd be one thing if remember last year we were 5-0. We were in the Cardinals position. We were 5-0, and if we had lost to the quarterback when we were 5-0, we'd be scared. But we'd be going, well, at least we got a 5-0 lead on the rest of the division. We're 2-3, limping out of this game with the worst defense in football, and we're without our franchise quarterback. Believe me, I know it's a bad situation, but we got to hang on to whatever we can while we still can, because until there's no breath left in this body that we call the Seattle Seahawks, we got to keep that defibrillator on there, clear, and we're gonna keep charging that sucker up until there's nothing left. So there's still something left because we've only played 2 teams two teams in our division, and we haven't even faced the Cardinals yet. So if you remember the Seahawks when we were 5-0. We also started to stumble along the way in the middle part of the year. Yeah, we still finished 12-4, but we did hit a stumbling point where we started to question, who we were. So who knows? Maybe the Cardinals will implode and that 5-0 lead might vanish. But we can't worry about them. We just got to worry about us, and we will face them eventually, hopefully, with Russell Wilson after that injured finger that he has, maybe coming back as soon as week 10. We'll see. But maybe he'll get a chance to face the Cardinals. But, all right, what is your score prediction? You usually have some very specific points in your score. You don't sound very positive today. What score do you have for the Seahawks Steelers?
You know what? I appreciate your positivity, Norb. I'm super salty today. I feel like the weather. I feel like I love my Seahawks, but I got to be honest. And I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to do some reverse psychology this week, which is we're going to lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers 21-17. The Steelers are going to have 3 touchdowns, 2 by Najee Harris, both on the ground. It's going to be very demoralizing. And the 3rd touchdown by a wide receiver you've never heard of. So that's going to be their 21 points. Our 17 is going to be 14 points on touchdowns and 1 Jason Myers field goal. He's going to be 1 of 2. He's going to hit a 44-yarder, and he's going to miss a 36-yarder. It's going to be super ironic and very weird. And on offense, Will Dissly is going to have a touchdown. And your boy Freddie Swain, just really awkward. Geno to Dissly, Geno to Swain, some kind of second team offense, practice squad kind of. I don't know, man. I am trying to reverse psychology this thing because I don't know what else to do. Last couple of weeks I've been predicting Seahawks wins. I can't do it again. I have to change it up.
Okay, so 21-17 is what you got.
21-17 Pittsburgh.
Well, in my season music prediction video that I put out every year before the season started, I said that we would win this game by the nose of the football, 21-20. And I was thinking about, do I change my prediction after Russell Wilson gets knocked out and have that horrible game, worst defense in the league? But I was thinking, maybe I shouldn't jump on everybody's bailing on the Seahawks bandwagon. And maybe I will stick with my 21-20 score, because I do think that Geno Smith can be the spark that turns this team around. Yeah, he's not going to be Russell Wilson, but he might be the guy who gets the actual Shane Waldron offense rolling the way it's supposed to roll. And maybe they do figure out on defense and do something we're talking about, and suddenly we go, wow, this defense does have some life. They can stop somebody. They did stop the Rams for the first half. So we know that there is something possible there. They just got to do it for 4 freaking quarters. So I'm going to stick with what I said in the beginning of the season, that we will eke this thing out 21-20, which is why Jason Myers has got to be perfect, because if he misses any of those extra points, we're going to either tie or lose that game. So, but I'm going to stick with it. That somehow, some way, we get 3 touchdowns from Geno Smith. Who knows? Maybe one of those touchdowns is a defensive pick 6, and Geno only has to do 2 of them. I don't know. But whatever it is, I'm just throwing living on a prayer that we're going to get 21-20. I'm stick with my prediction. That's my score predictions for Seahawks Steelers. We'll see what happens. If you weren't my sponsor, I know I'd probably even try to maybe wager you on this thing, because this game is too much at stake here. But
I will bet you one spam musubi that the Seahawks will lose. The Seahawks will lose this week. That's how much I believe in my reverse psychology.
All right. Well, I like spam musubi, so I'm glad we both like it. At least it's something we can both agree on. I'll take you on that. All right. So if you're right, you get the spam musubi. I'll get you one. If it's the other way around, I'll get it, and maybe we have to eat it on camera. I don't know, just to put the icing on the cake.
I know this is Norb's channel, but put in the comments who you think is going to be eating spam and who's going to be left hungry.
Yeah. Who's going to be eating spam? Who's going to have egg on their face?
There you go.
Oh, egg on the face. That's an interesting idea. Okay. All right. We'll stick with the spam for this week. All right. So as we do with every Dive In With Dovin episode, I always have you leave a final tip of the week. And so my question for you is, we talked a little bit over past shows, things like trusting your house value on Zillow and different things like that. But let's start from the beginning. Like, if I'm a person who hasn't bought a house before and I'm thinking, doggone it, I've saved up some money. I think I'm ready to buy a house. What's the first thing they should do? Daniel, what would you do? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that's great that you're thinking along these lines. It's a fantastic place to be. Think bigger than buying a car or buying some clothes. It's time to think about buying a home. It's very exciting. The first thing I would say, the first step is to go ahead and talk to a great local trusted real estate agent to get the process started. From there, you can go ahead and hook up with a fantastic local lender who can go over your financial options. So what does a lender even look for? Well, the first step is to get what's called a pre-approval. And that's when the lender takes a look at your credit score, number one, and your debt to income ratio, also known as your DTI. So what is debt to income? Well, for example, you take a look at how much money you make per month, and that's the money coming in as income versus the money coming out from debts. So that debt could be a car payment, that debt could be a credit card payment, that debt could be school payments, whatever that is. The lender wants to usually make sure that the amount of money coming in versus coming out, the ratio is a lot higher on the money coming in than coming out, because they want to be able to lend you the money on the home you're going to buy. Once you get that pre-approval going, you'll know what your budget is and what you can actually look forward to buying. So that's step number one. Hook up with a great local real estate agent, a great lender, and get yourself pre-approved.
All right, there you go. So for you kids, I know there's a lot of you guys who are on the younger side of the audience, but it's never too late to be thinking about it. And yeah, you may not be buying one right now, but you might be in a few years. It's always good to know what to look forward to down the line. You might be in high school and maybe you got college ahead, but maybe after college, who knows? You might be ready to start making that move. Or you might know somebody who is looking right now. You can always send them over to Daniel because he'll take care of you, and then talk Seahawks at the same time, which is a good combination. All right. Well, Daniel, thanks so much, man. I hope you're wrong about this weekend big time. I don't want this season to be over before the halfway point. I want to keep hope alive, and it starts with this next game. I mean, we are on life support right now. We got to keep charging up and giving life CPR to our Seahawks. So it ain't over till it's over. So we'll see what happens. But Daniel, appreciate your time. Appreciate your support, of course. So everybody check out his information. It's been on the screen this whole time, but you can also look it up in the description as well. And we'll see what happens come Sunday. Sunday Night Football is the only game playing this night. So we got to show up and show the nation. It's prime time. All right. As we end with every Seahawks, Daniel Dovin, the Dive In With Dovin. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks, baby. Thanks for having me. Peace.
All right. See you guys.